There are thousands of scary ghost stories out there, ranging from people encountering ghosts on random roads and rivers to disembodied corpses that will chase you until they kill you. However, despite every country having their own selection of truly creepy ghost stories, one country stands above the rest, with stories that scare even hardcore paranormal experts. Stories that range from ghosts you don't want to meet in an empty parking lot to ghosts that will make you want to sleep with the lights on. Here are 5 creepy ghost stories from Japan, and 5 reasons why Japan has the scariest ghost stories. In 1979, a story started to spread like wildfire around Japan about a young woman in a surgical mask who would confront children in secluded urban areas. The woman would corner these children, usually in the late evening when the sun was starting to set. She would ask them if she was beautiful. However, before they answered, she would remove her mask, revealing that her face was slit open along the lines of her mouth. There was unfortunately no easy way to escape her. She would wait for her answer, and if you told her that she was not beautiful, she would immediately kill you. However, if you told her that she was, she would pull out a pair of razor sharp scissors and cut your face the same way hers was. If you did want to escape her, you would have to give her an answer that confirmed both that she was beautiful and wasn't beautiful. Something along the lines of, you look average. While this may just seem like an urban legend, there were reports of a woman in the early 1970s who used to chase children around. While doing precisely this, she was hit by a car and her face was split open from one ear to the other. This is one of the most famous Japanese ghost stories out there. It's also one of the scariest, leaving you with a dilemma of whether you want to die or be horribly disfigured. This, I believe, is just one of the reasons that Japanese ghost stories and urban legends are so creepy. You often get a choice in these stories: death or a life of suffering. Which one would you choose? You may know Sadako from the Ring movies. However, what you may not know is that according to reports, she was actually a real person. Sadako was based on a girl who lived in Japan in the early 1900s. She was allegedly psychic and had the power to project images of herself into the minds of others. Her mother, who was a psychic researcher, had done multiple studies on her. However, when her studies were published, she was accused of being a fraud, which led to her taking her own life. Later on, Sadako met a doctor in Tokyo who continued the studies her mother had done on her. The doctor had wanted to publish a book on her. However, Sadako remembered what happened to her mother and refused. The doctor, angry at Sadako's rejection, threw her into a well in the hopes that holding her captive would change her mind. However, she died while inside the well, with nothing but hatred for the world in her heart. She allegedly now haunts a videotape, with anyone who watches the tape dying in 7 days, because that's allegedly how much time she spent inside the well before dying. Most Japanese ghost stories are actually based on true stories, or at least variations of things that happened in real life, which I believe adds a terrifying layer to them. If we believe, as it's said, that art imitates life, then the terrifying reality of Japanese ghost stories is also the terrifying reality of things that can happen in the real world. When it comes to stories like Sadako or the split mouth woman, we see how easy it is for regular people like you and I to be so cruel to the innocent. Sadly, the scariest thing about these stories is that if it happened to them, it could happen to us. Before I go on, I make new videos every week, so if you are enjoying this one, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified as soon as I upload again. And if you have a favorite ghost story, tell me about it down in the comment section. The Snake Woman is a mysterious cryptid-like being that stalks the shoreline of Japan. According to legend, she hides in the shallow water with only her head visible. She pretends to be a victim drowning, and when someone inevitably tries to save her, she wraps her long snake like body around them and then suffocates and swallows them whole. Other legends suggest that she has supernatural powers and can attack anyone in the water. According to these legends, she rises out of the water and paralyzes people by looking at them directly in their eyes. Then she uses her venom and sharp teeth to suck the blood out of them. It's claimed that once she has you in her sights, it's difficult to get away from her. However, in most cases, she only strikes at night. So if you are in Japan, I would suggest avoiding the coastline after sunset. One of the hallmarks of Japanese horror is body horror. We can see just that in the story I told you. However, it's not just urban legends, as body horror plays a huge part in Japanese horror media. It can be seen in anime, especially in the brilliant works of Junji Ito. Seeing human bodies twisted and metamorphosized in ways that shouldn't be elicits not only disgust and fascination, but also the value of uncanny feeling in people. This is simply another reason why Japanese horror is so creepy. It's not afraid of pushing the human body past its limits to create something truly terrifying. Possibly one of the best ghost stories from Japan, this one tells the creepy tale of a young woman who got the sweetest revenge after her death. The woman in question was described as being young and cheerful. She got married to a man, and even though they were both poor, she was still happy. However, when she became pregnant, her husband started an affair with a rich woman. Wanting to be with the other woman, he poisoned his wife and his unborn child. However, she didn't immediately die. Instead, she slipped into a coma, with the poison slowly rotting away at her skin. When she finally awoke, she was disfigured, which disgusted her husband. So he led her to a cliff and pushed her off. But her spirit didn't rest in peace. Believing he got away with it, the man made an attempt to marry the other woman. However, on the wedding day, he saw his dead wife walking down the aisle. In fear, he grabbed a sword and swung it at her. However, he instead killed his bride-to-be. After the murder, he escaped to his home where he saw his dead wife once again. Trying to use a sword to kill her, he once again failed. This time, killing the man who was supposed to be his father-in-law. The ghost of his first wife chased him all the way to the edge of a cliff. Although the man didn't jump himself, people who are watching in horror claim that an unknown but horrifying-looking woman pushed him off the cliff. While this is a simple story, the symmetry of it is near perfect. Although the man could have happily stayed married with his wife, and she would be eternally grateful, he was a horrible person and he decided to aim for the riches of the woman he was having an affair with. This led to the deserved death of the man and the untimely death of the other woman. While it's tragic that his first wife had to die an excruciating death, the fact that she comes back for revenge does somewhat make up for it. One of the main themes in many Japanese horror stories is symmetry. If something is started, it must end, and if something is done, there will be consequences to those actions. That's something often missing from other stories around the world. Possibly because people believe that the paranormal aspect of ghost stories throws the narrative so out of balance that there is no room for symmetry. However, giving a deserved and equal end to an earlier action just makes a story so perfect. Scariest ghost story is the story of a young woman who was on her way home late at night when she fell onto railway tracks. Unfortunately, the woman couldn't get away from the train fast enough, and she was cut in half. However, despite this, her body lived on, and now, for some reason, she wants everyone else to suffer the same way she did. A young boy was leaving school in the evening hours of the day when he came across the woman sitting on the other side of the window. However, as he moved closer to her, she jumped through, revealing that she was cut in half. She chased him down, and when she caught up with him, she used a scythe to slash him into two pieces. She does the same thing to anyone else she meets at night alone in the urban areas of Japan. So if I were you, I'd travel with company. Japan has some of the scariest ghost stories in the world, for the simple reason that they don't let the rules of imagination limit them. Body horror, choices, symmetry, and a powerful narrative style all lead to urban legends you wouldn't want in your own country. So tell me, do you agree with my opinion that Japan has the scariest horror stories in the world? Or do you believe that I'm wrong? Tell me in the comment section and subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching. This is Daniel Dark, signing out.